Hello to everybody and hello to you, Amenakin, who I think should watch this video in its entirety. I think it's very important you watch this video, Amenakin, because it's become aware to everyone that you have filed a DMCA against Potholer.mp4. This DMCA being the video that he produced criticizing your creationist claptrap. That came from books that had absolutely no understanding of science or the theory of evolution. I've watched the video and you really have no idea what you're talking about. As a result, making yourself look like a complete and utter twit. That being said, when you file a DMCA, if the DMCA is a frivolous, otherwise known as a false DMCA among atheists, it can land you in legal trouble. And a few years ago, atheists were having DMCAs filed against them left, right, and center. I know I had one filed against me, which was lifted. The reason why I bring this up is that atheists, as a general rule, are very touchy about the DMCA, particularly about the false or frivolous DMCA. You will garner a lot of spite, anger, and even in some cases, hatred for doing that. Now, I'm not a person who promotes hatred. I think hatred is a very destructive thing. I think that telling a person, you're an F in this, you're an F in that, it's very counterproductive and really serves no purpose than to satisfy your own anger issues. What you have done is file a frivolous DMCA or false DMCA. I've watched Potholer's entire video. I have a copy of the entire video. I've watched what you had to say, and you have no ground to stand on. I'm not a lawyer, but I have read enough of the DMCA to know that you can critique and criticize another person's position. And seeing that he's not making any money off this, you really don't have a leg to stand on here at all. There's no loss on your part, particularly financial loss, and it is a fair critique of your position. So it's frivolous. You see, when filing a DMCA, you really should speak to a lawyer first to make sure that you have legal footing here. Because if you take it on your own accord, you can be taken to court and have charges pressed against you, in this case for perjury, which is exactly what this case would be. If Potholer did decide to take you to court, you would have no legal recourse. And Allah certainly would not be there to help you, seeing that he doesn't exist, but that's beside the point anyway. If I was Potholer, I would make no bones of making an example of you at all. You see, I have 5 sisters, so I don't give a rat's ass if you're a man or a woman. I couldn't care less. You piss me off and, well, I'm probably going to bitch slap you around for a little while. Pardon the expression. What you've essentially done is release the hounds. And the hounds will probably be nipping and biting and ripping at you for the next little while. Again, it's not something that I promote. I'm actually against the behavior of just maliciously ripping at a person for no reason whatsoever. But it's going to happen, and you've done it to yourself. You have no one to blame but yourself. So congratulations. Finally, the Streisand effect. Back in 2003, Barbra Streisand tried to suppress images that were taken of her house. As a result, there's now images all over the place of her house. That is, the images went viral. This is what happens when you do a DMCA like this, a false DMCA or a frivolous DMCA. Typically, you'll see the video go viral, and it will be all over the place, and you can't stop it. Too late now, which is what I'm suggesting for everybody to do. Take a copy of this video, and I'm going to be linking my copy off of Mediafire for you to download so that you can upload it to your own channel. Spread it all over the place. Don't stop. And I have asked Potholer.mp4 for express permission to use the video. That way, if Amenakin, you try to DMCA me, I have recourse, which means that I can file a counter notice, get you doxxed, and if necessary, proceed with legal recourse if I deem fit. I would never doc drop. I don't do that. I'm completely against doc dropping. But of course, that would mean that you would have my personal information. And there's a few people on YouTube who do have my personal information. I'm not overly concerned with the release of my personal information. I prefer to keep it private. But if it becomes public, it won't chase me away. It'll just make me retaliate against the person who did it. And trust me, if a person tried to doc drop me and they were successful, it would get really ugly. Anyhow, final thing. A little while ago, there was somebody who tried to do what you did. Here's What happened?
This is an apology from myself to Thunderfoot and other YouTube users. I confirm that the contents of this apology are true and accurate. My username on YouTube is VenomFangX. As many of you may know, there has been a dispute between Thunderfoot and myself over the past few weeks. We have resolved that dispute, and as part of the resolution, I am here to express my regret for the misuse of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act to serve takedown notices in relation to a number of Thunderfoot's videos on YouTube. In return, Thunderfoot has agreed not to pursue legal action against me or report me to YouTube. I now realize that I should have sought legal advice before acting. When I served the notices, I did not have a clear understanding of what I was doing or the potential consequences of my actions. I now understand that the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, or DMCA for short, is a U.S. copyright law. A DMCA takedown notice is filed under penalty of perjury, and filing a malicious or knowingly false claim of infringement is a criminal act in the United States. If you serve a malicious or false DMCA notice on someone, then that person has the right to pursue civil action, which enables them to recover damages and legal fees. These are potential legal consequences of misrepresentations in a DMCA takedown notice. Filing a DMCA is a legal right, but it is inadvisable, as this apology demonstrates, to file one without first knowing what you're doing. Further, YouTube states that misrepresentations in a takedown notice is a breach of its terms of service, which can lead to the termination of your account. The DMCA takedown notices that I filed against Thunderfoot were enforced by YouTube on the 8th of September 2008, and the videos that I had lodged these notices against were removed. As a result of Thunderfoot's counter notices and the fact that I did not take legal action against him, the videos were reinstated on the 1st of October 2008. I did not contest these counter notifications, as I did not have a valid copyright infringement claim and I was wrong to have served these notices. I accept that I deliberately and repeatedly lied to cover up my wrongdoings, both in emails to Thunderfoot and in my videos. I apologize for lying to Thunderfoot and to all of those whom I have deceived. On the 15th of September, I posted a video in which I alleged that Thunderfoot had committed blackmail. I made this allegation without having taken legal advice. I now accept that I was wrong to have made this allegation, and it was and is totally without legal merit. Again, for this I apologize to Thunderfoot. On the 17th of September, I speculated that Thunderfoot had maliciously disseminated my personal information, and that this action might result in the death of myself or my family. I now accept that Thunderfoot has never disseminated any personal information relating to me or anyone else. Further, I accept that it would have been impossible for him to have done so, as he's only ever received my first and my last name from YouTube, and that he intentionally did not request any further details. I accept that my speculation was an abominable attempt to vilify the character of the man who I had filed baseless DMCA infringement claims against. I apologize to Thunderfoot for this. On the 17th of September, I rationalized that my filing of DMCA notices against Thunderfoot's videos by suggesting that I perceive the purpose of these videos as being solely to humiliate or defame my character. I now understand that this is not an issue of copyright. On the 13th and 17th of September, I posted a video in which I suggested that I would go to heaven while Thunderfoot would go to hell. I now understand that my theological views have nothing to do with the legality of my actions concerning the DMCA. Finally, I accept that the language and tone of the 5 videos I made following my misuse of the DMCA were confrontational and inflammatory, and that I am very lucky that Thunderfoot maintained his objectivity in the face of this hostility. I now accept that Thunderfoot was primarily motivated by protecting freedom of speech from the detrimental effects that misuse of the DMCA can have. See chillingeffects.org. I now understand that my misuse of the DMCA was essentially stepping on free speech rights of others, and that this was both antisocial and unlawful, and I was wrong for doing so. I apologize to Thunderfoot and to anyone else affected by my action.